Section 4 is titled Preparing Engaging Multimedia Presentations. In the last presentation, we talked about PowerPoint and Prezi and how they can really help with a presentation. Sometimes this requires an investment in time on learning how to use a new software or program such as Prezi. And one way to gain expertise is really just take the time, sit down, learn how to use it, and then putting the time into designing the prezis. That takes time too. One way to learn more is like what I like to do is just go in and practice. Hands-on experience really helps me learn, but you could also try an online tutorial or look for YouTube videos on how to use certain presentation software. Here are some questions you can ask yourself to analyze the situation and purpose of a slideshow and make sure that you choose the right presentation. So, will your slides be used during a live presentation? Will they be part of a self-running presentation, such as in a store kiosk? Will they be saved on a cloud server so that users can watch the presentation online at their convenience? Will they be sent as a PowerPoint show or a PDF slide deck to a client instead of a hard copy report? And will your presentation mainly run on smartphones or tablets? Another thing to think about is if you're emailing the presentation or posting it online as a self-contained file or slide deck, it should feature more text than you would if you were delivering the presentation orally. If, on the other hand, you're creating slides for a live presentation, you will likely rely more on images than on text. Audiences respond differently to colors, images, and special effects, so you really need to think about that. Primary ideas are generally best conveyed with bold colors such as blue, green, and purple. Because the messages that colors convey can vary from culture to culture, presenters must choose colors and other design elements carefully. In the United States, blue is the color of credibility, tranquility, conservatism, and trust. Therefore, it is the background color choice for many business presentations and social media sites. Green relates to interaction, growth, money, and stability. It can work well as a background or an accent color. Purple can also work as a background or accent color. It conveys spirituality, royalty, dreams, and humor. You want to make sure to adjust the color to provide high contrast so it is readable. So you'll want to use light text on a dark background for presentations in darkened rooms. You would want to use a dark text on a light background for presentations in lighted rooms. Avoid using a dark font on a dark background, such as red text on a dark blue background. Avoid using a light font on a light background, such as white text on a pale blue background. And keep in mind that colors look vibrant on your monitor, but they may look washed out when projected onto a screen. So these are all things that you want to think about. Some of these may be new to you, and it's important to consider the room where you're presenting. You may want to go in and pull up your slides and look at it beforehand. Maybe if you can, a day or two before, so you can make any adjustments. The 6x6 rule specifies 6 bullets per screen and 6 words per bullet maximum on a PowerPoint slide. And I love how it gives you all these great examples, but a lot of these slides are not designed that way. Breaking this rule is sometimes necessary, especially if users will be viewing the presentation on their own. So I think that is the reasoning behind why your books' PowerPoints are set up that way. They're kind of designed for you to be able to study. But if you were just presenting to a group and you want to keep their attention, you would definitely want to make some adjustments to make sure that you don't have too many words on the screen. It says strive to break free from bulleted lists whenever possible and minimize the use of text. Try to avoid long, boring bulleted lists. And then I'll let you read the rest of those. I'm going to look at figure 12.8. It shows how to make your slides visually more appealing and memorable, even with relatively small changes. So here is before the revision. And then after the revision. Do you know to necessarily repeat great presenters, the first and the last bullets are needlessly long. The contrast of white on gray is poor. It's hard to see. In the revised slide, the title avoids the overused word great. You don't want to overuse words. The short sentences begin with a verb, use, don't, enhance, create, rehearse. So make sure that your bullets are parallel or maybe not use bullets. The short sentences begin with a verb, emphasis on action. And then I like how the icons add a little bit of interest. It's just easier on your eyes to see the second one. Animation and sound effects, these can really distract the audience and draw attention away from your main point. Only add animation if it helps convey your message or adds interest to the content. The zooming effect of Prezi presentations can add value to your presentation as long as it helps your audience understand connections and remember content. This is a quote from Aaron Weinberg, creator of TED conference slides. Listen to this. I think this is interesting. Frequently in good presentations, photos serve well in a metaphorical or conceptual sense or to set a backdrop tone for what the audience is hearing from the presenter and not necessarily to communicate actual content. TED's most viewed talk of all time hasn't a single slide, and many of TED's most successful talks will have a focus on what's said and not what's seen. So content is extremely important. When you're building your presentation, translate the major headings of your presentation into titles for your slides. Build bullet points using short phrases. And create a blueprint slide. This is a slide that provides an overview of major points and later provides transitions as the speaker moves from point to point. Chapter 4 provides information on improving readability by using document design techniques, including bullets, numbers, and headings. So you may want to make a note of Chapter 4 is a good reference to improve readability and design. You need to set a limit on how much time you will spend making your slides look visually appealing, okay? You don't want to overspend your time on the presentation, the images, as much as the content. You want to create a slide or canvas only if it accomplishes at least one of the following purposes. So when you're designing your presentation slides, if it doesn't accomplish one of these items, then don't make it. You can make it if it generates interest in what you're saying and helps the audience follow your ideas. You should make it if it highlights points that you want your audience to remember, if it introduces or reviews your key points, if it provides a transition from one major point to the next, or if it illustrates and simplifies complex ideas. Not every point nor every thought requires a visual. In fact, it's smart to switch off the presentation occasionally, just turn it off for a minute, and direct the focus to yourself. Darkening the room while you discuss a point, tell a story, give an example, or involve the audience will add variety to your presentation. All presentation programs require you to select or create a template that will serve as your background. Make each slide by selecting a layout that best conveys your message. And you may want to design your own layout. You may not want to use one of PowerPoint's layouts or Prezi's. You may want to design your own. Overused templates and clip art that come pre-installed with some of these software can weary viewers who've seen them repeatedly in presentations. They kind of get tired of it. So it's better to be original with your presentation. Do something different. Use the PowerPoint slide sorter view to rearrange, insert, and delete slides. And you want to make your presentation as clear and concise as possible. Be sure your listed items are parallel and use grammatical form, and be sure to check your spelling, your grammar, your punctuation, and other errors, because if you have any of this, your listeners, you're going to lose credibility and you're going to lose your listeners' attention. And figure 12.9 in your book shows how to revise a PowerPoint slide to improve conciseness, parallelism, and other features. You may want to take a look at that. Then use the following questions to critically evaluate slideshows. Is your message presented in an appealing way? Have you tested your slides on the equipment in the room you'll be using during your presentation? Do the colors you select work in the new setting? Are the font styles and sizes readable from the back of the room? Figure 12.2 in your book shows examples of PowerPoint slides that incorporate what you have learned in this discussion. And here are 7 steps to a powerful multimedia presentation. So this is the step-by-step process. Start with text, then select background and fonts. Choose images that help communicate your message. Create graphics, add special effects, create hyperlinks, and move your presentation online. Read over these 4 fill in the blank, pause the video, answer them, and then check the answers with me. The first answer is blue, green, and purple. The second answer is 6x6 rule. The third answer is blueprint. And the fourth answer is visual cliches.